guys, welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today, it's still kind of L-word related and it's definitely still LGBTQ related. So we are here to discuss the literary sensation, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And I know that this book has been out for a little while, I think since 2017, and it has had an absolute resurgence over quarantine, over this year and last year, and a lot of people are talking about it. Basically, in this video, I've never done a book review on this channel, but as I said, there is a little L-word relation, and I will talk about that towards the end of the video. But I'm going to start off with a very general review, and if you haven't read the book, I'm going to keep the first part spoiler-free. And after the first part's done, I will go into more detail and talk about specific things in the book, the ending, and how I felt overall. So if you haven't read the book, I really strongly advise you to watch the first part of this video, kind of see what it's about, get a little bit excited for it, and then stop the video and go and read it, because it really is a really great book. And the ending, everything like that, I don't want to spoil it for you guys. So if you haven't read the book, stop after the first part, and then after you've read the book, come back and watch the end of this video. Just before we get down to business, if you're new to the channel, if you've watched a few videos and you haven't quite made that plunge, become a subscriber on the channel, join our L-word LGBTQ family, because as I've mentioned before, the YouTube gods are not the most generous to LGBTQ creators, and that algorithm messes with us. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, and if at any point in the video you enjoy it, if you enjoyed the book yourself, give the video a like and let me know your opinions about the book down in the comment section. So starting off just with my general opinion, this book, I really enjoyed it. I read it pretty quickly. I've had the book, I bought it probably about 4 months ago, just before Christmas, and I read the first couple of pages and I was just getting busy and general life. And when I really sat down and started getting deep into the book, and a couple of chapters in, I was really hooked and I went through the book in about 4 days. So I really enjoyed it. And of course, there is LGBTQ themes in it, and it was really nice that the kind of surprise for me was that it was one of the main focuses of the book, the gay relationship. And I thought it was kind of going to be maybe, just a little section of it or a little part. And I was really happy to see that it was, smattered throughout the book. Obviously, it being, a gay book, I was really interested to read it. But the main thing that I think the reason I heard about it in the first place is the L-word connection. And the book came out in 2017, and then in 2019, Eileen Chaikin and Jennifer Beals, through Freeform, kind of got the rights to the book, and they're both going to executive produce the movie or limited series of the book. I think that it's going to be a movie, but just from my own opinion, I think it'd be really interesting to do a limited series, because you could go way more into depth, and you could do something like every episode, is a husband. So I'm going to get into a bit of spoilers now. If you have not read the book, continue at your own peril. It is really a great book, and I strongly recommend going into it spoiler free. So now that it's just all of us that have read the book, I just absolutely loved it. I loved the love story between Evelyn and Celia. when I went into the book, I mean, knowing that Jennifer Beals and Eileen Chaikin were attached, and just the general mumblings in the community, like I knew there was going to be a lesbian relationship in it, or a bi and lesbian relationship. And I did have like a thought that they were, you know, talking about these 7 husbands, and it's the title of the book, that I did think that it was, you know, they weren't going to be 7 loves and everything like that. And before I finished it, I kind of thought when the Celia and Evelyn thing was starting that it would just be like one, you know, section of the book, one little affair over a few years, and that would be the end of it. And I was really happy to see it, you know, throughout the entire book. And in a way, they did get their happy ending at the end, but also the book, the love story, the characters are so complicated that I don't even feel right saying happy ending, because the one really great thing about this book is that you feel so many things towards all of the characters, and it's so well written because they really feel like real people, in the sense that, you know, Evelyn is this amazingly ambitious person, and each of her husbands she married for specific reasons, most of the which were not for love or, you know, any kind of forever relationship. And I think that the greatest thing about this book is that Evelyn isn't some, you know, amazing heroine or protagonist that everybody roots for, or she's this purely angelic person. Like, she's a very, very complicated character that there is so much character development. It's so well written, and you have such complicated feelings yourself about the character and about her relationship with Celia. And I think it very much also went into the kind of chosen family that we see represented a lot in the L Word and Generation Q, in that not all of the gay community has their own, you know, blood family, and that sometimes your chosen family can be just as close and there for you. And one of my favorite kind of parts of the book was when Evelyn and Celia were together, and then Harry and John were together, and they were like this little foursome. And I think that was portrayed very well for the time as well, because I've talked about this in a lot of my L Word reviews, particularly when Tasha and Alice go to that kind of gay secret Hollywood party. And these things, you know, still go on in today's society, and guaranteed it's a lot smaller. And when the L Word was on, it was a way for some people to actually come out of the closet. You have Elizabeth Keener, Kelly McGillis, lots of actresses that went on the L Word and weren't out, and then used going on the L Word as kind of a going out. And people even like Holland Taylor, when she was on the original show, she was not out. And people, you know, will always point to this and say, oh yeah, like they were coming out on the L Word. And it's like, do you think the L Word just lucked into all these gay actresses like being cast on the show and coming out? Like, how do you think all these people knew each other to get on the show? And even, you know, in the media, it's kind of this unspoken thing that if somebody does not publicly come out, that there's no possible way they could be, or infer it. I mean, someone like Queen Latifah is a great example, in that she literally has a wife, but because she hasn't, you know, done the typical cover story about the fact that she's gay, like, people are very wary of calling her a gay woman. And I think that heavily goes into the whole thing with lesbians and bisexuals, in that it's hard for people to really accept that a woman is gay and completely secure in her sexuality. Like, pretty much all straight people are always really shocked to hear that Amber Heard is bisexual and, you know, has had relationships with women. And a lot of people just have this thing where in their head they either ignore it or write it off as not being true. And with women, they're obviously, you know, sometimes you can see two women making out, or there's this great meme that I've used in one of my Lesbian reacts to funny gay memes, and there's a picture of Samira Wiley and her wife on their wedding day, and they're both in white dresses. I'll put it on the screen. And someone has gone on and said, oh my gosh, getting married the same day as your best friend, what a dream. And it's like, they are lesbians. But with men, it's the complete opposite, in the way that if a man like touches another man's shoulder, oh my god, they're gay. But with women, it's the complete opposite, and they are actually gay and people won't believe them. My absolute favorite part of the book was the very last line, when, you know, Evelyn saying that although she had these 7 husbands, I think people will be more interested in my wife. And I think that was just a great way to wrap up the story. It was my favorite line, my favorite part of the book. And there was so many positive points, and just again, the Celia and Evelyn story was very complicated and wonderful and stressful and terrible and great. It was an authentic representation of a relationship, and a relationship, you know, being put through extremely difficult circumstances. And I think that's what made it feel so real and tangible. And looking at another aspect of the story, the way that they kind of framed everything, and the, you know, pullback effect of Monique and Evelyn, and they framed this as kind of a mystery from the beginning. Like, why is Evelyn so interested in Monique and giving Monique her story? So from the beginning, I really, you know, was trying to guess what was happening. And my first guess was that when Evelyn was talking about the abortion she had when Harry took her to Mexico, there was something going on there. But then, I mean, I'm assuming all of Evelyn's husbands were white, but they never like explicitly said that in the book. And Monique is biracial, so that wrote off a lot of other possibilities for me. So I was never totally sold on that, but going through the whole thing, I did think, okay, she must be someone's kid. Like, that was from the very beginning. Like, even when Monique was getting to Evelyn's for the first time, I definitely thought she has to be someone's, you know, kid, because Monique is supposed to be about the same age as me, maybe a few years older, like early 30s. So it seemed to make the most sense. And I didn't connect it to being Harry's partner. And I think the way they did that was really good, because it was enough information that, you know, when it was being revealed, you were like, oh, wow, like they'd already set it up well enough that, you know, you knew exactly what was going on, but it was not obvious at all. Like, I consider myself good at picking plot twists a lot of the time, and I definitely didn't pick that one up, apart from the fact of I thought it was, you know, Monique was someone's kid, but I think that most people probably thought that going through the book. So final thoughts and opinions, things I liked, things I didn't. And again, this is a brilliant book. This has absolutely skyrocketed to one of my favorite books. It is, you know, I'm not going to say 2021 because it's only February, but this is definitely my favorite book that I've read in the last 12 months. And it is my favorite, you know, gay lesbian book. I think that you know, a lot of people who put lesbianism or lesbian relationships in a book, sometimes it's just a really bad portrayal, and this was the complete opposite. They absolutely nailed it. It felt so authentic, so real, and even some of the aspects of a lesbian dating a bisexual, like, it was very, very authentic. I think with the writing overall, it was absolutely brilliant, and I really cannot say enough good things about this book. I am going to be recommending it, absolutely. And honestly, it's pretty much a dream to know that Eileen Chaikin and Jennifer Beals are going to be executive producing this. And my whole thought throughout was, I wonder if Jennifer Beals is going to be in the book. I mean, she would have been perfect to play Monique, but Jennifer Beals is, you know, pretty much like the most beautiful woman in the world, but I don't think she can get away with playing a 30-something-year-old. But I really was thinking, oh, there's definitely some characters that she could play. And Evelyn is a Cuban American and in her 80s, so it'd be really interesting to see who they get to play, you know, present day Evelyn, but then also who they're going to have play Evelyn when she's younger. And Celia is kind of portrayed as like a redhead. I mean, Jennifer Beals can pull off anything. Could she pull off red hair? Because the oldest Celia gets is like 60s, so I don't know. But maybe Jennifer Beals is only going to be executive producing it. Whatever they do, I'm sure it will be brilliant because, you know, as I say in my general L word videos, Jennifer Beals and Leisha and Kate are the holy L word trinity, and we got to put the faith in them because they normally end up giving us some really A+ work. The only critiques I have of the book is some of the writing was a little bit heavy-handed, but again, I just thought it was a really great, complicated book. And the only thing I really had difficulty with, like, I have the physical book, but I also, some of it I listened to in audiobook form, and the way that they did the audiobook, you know, they had two Evelyn voices, but they were older women that were doing it. So when I was picturing the characters in my head, because it was like a significantly older woman's voice, I could never picture the characters when they were the ages in the book, like when they were in their 20s and 30s and stuff. I was just always picturing an older person because the same voice is used throughout the book. But that's just like a tiny little thing that I wish that they would have, in the same way that, you know, they will either change the actress if somebody's playing someone, like, you know, when they hopefully make this, they'll have someone different playing Evelyn in her 80s and someone different playing Evelyn in her 20s. I did really like when they put the articles in the book too. It just made it all feel a little bit more real, and picturing it was easier. So, and the voice actress for reading those articles, I believe she's the same voice actress who did the Gone Girl audiobook. I might be wrong there, but I think that voice actress is great. And if you do listen to the audiobook, you'll hear her reading out all of the articles. So overall, I absolutely love the book. As I said, it's definitely the best thing I've read in the past 12 months. And I really think that it's gone into my number one gay book of all time, and I really wish that there were more books out there like this. I just know I would have loved to have read a book like this in my like late teens, early 20s when I was coming out, and it was early in my coming out process, because there's just really nothing like this, where there's a lot of coming out stories, and this goes for film and television as well. There's very few gay characters or TV shows like The L Word, like on Grey's Anatomy, where the character that is gay or lesbian is just who they are, because nowadays a lot of shows will have a gay character and they have this big coming out saga, and then that's it. The character's either sidelined, they're killed off, they get divorced, cheat is one that happens all the time, and that's it. But we need more stories, books, films, television shows that just show gay people living normal lives like everyone else. And I think that this book is absolute proof that it is possible to have a gay lesbian book become a bestseller that not only is segregated to gay audiences but can be enjoyed by everyone. And I think that they did a great job with this, because if you look on YouTube, if you look on Amazon, any of these things, there is so many people that absolutely love this book, and you don't have to be gay to love this book. So if you enjoyed the book, give this video a like and let me know down in the comment section your absolute favorite moment in the book, your favorite line. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We focus on everything LGBTQ here, mostly the L word, Generation Q, but I am always expanding the subject matter on this channel as well. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media. I post a lot of content over there, so make sure to check me out over there so you can keep up to date with everything L-word related and LGBTQ related in between my videos. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys!